I can picture him. I don't think it was. I don't think it was Benny. It was the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that was the one plus. It wasn't Benny then.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Great. Well, I guess we've sort of started. So why don't you tell a little bit about the band and the album?
The drums. Well, how it was. I mean, all the guys was are like well-respected Danish musicians. I didn't know them until I was approached, David. It was my wife Hannah who said, "Oh, these are all really well-known, respected Danish musicians." And they're really nice guys, and I met them. And like Henrik, the keyboard player, he was the one who instigated everything. We just we just met for one afternoon in the studio, and we sort of just talking, and and we just started jamming, and it worked straight away, David. And we decided, sort of do some recording together, and we ended up doing an album. It was it worked. It was as simple as that. And it's all covers on the album, all stuff sort of that. We sort of chose a couple of songs each, sort of
Uh-huh.
from way back, sort of like 60s and things like that. And that's how it came about. And it was recorded really quickly, and we decided to release it.
Am I right that you haven't done anything music-wise for a while?
Well, I was doing some stuff with some guys, in England up the north near Nottingham.
Hmm.
But I suppose you're right in a way. I don't suppose I have really done much for a while, really. But I tell you what, but it brought my enthusiasm back. And it was really nice.
Where was the album recorded?
Well, if I can really, it was all done here in Denmark.
Uh-huh.
There was one, there was some mixing and things done in in the studio in Hastings down the south coast.
Uh-huh.
Like Erik the singer, he's done a lot of work in this studio apparently, and he was over there doing something, and he had the. It's not tapes anymore, is it? It's all on
Digital, isn't it?
computer these
Yeah.
days. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was actually far away, the Slade classic that we recorded, and that was actually all put together or mixed in Hastings. Because to talk about the tape, I mean, I remember it was about a year or two ago. I went in the studio to do some recording. I was looking around for the tape machine, and they said, when was the last time you were in a recording studio? We don't use those anymore.
The other is like the question could be, how old are you?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, I know. Quite funny. Because I was thinking of back when, sort of when the Beatles' first album was done in one day.
Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah, because they were totally unknown, so that was all the time that EMI would give them.
Are you actually based out of Denmark now, or are you just visiting?
Yeah, I live here. I'm actually a Danish resident now, sort of David. I met my
Uh-huh.
wife here. I met my wife here, and she has three children from her
Uh-huh.
previous marriage. And at the time we met, Andrea's little boy, he was 7 years old. He couldn't speak English,
Right.
and I thought, well, because they were willing to come to England, I thought I can't bring them to England. He'll get crucified at school. He
Mm,
can't speak English. I thought it's so much easier for me to move here. The world's become a small place these days, David.
absolutely.
It's so easy for me to travel. I've got a choice of 3 flights a day, like Ryanair, sort of thing. It's so different today. I mean, I can commute to England, so I've done it many times. Been to the UK for the day, sort of thing, and then back again the same day. It's so different these days.
Absolutely. What's life like in Denmark? Tell us as a way of life.
I'll tell you what's nice about it. The first thing I noticed, David, is how the people love and respect our country.
Wow.
You know, it's just little things like you don't have to worry about leaving things out or, you know, I mean, in the street where we live, it's like one big family. We've each got keys to each other's houses, so we can help out if anything needs doing, or if the family's away, we can look after the house or do things for them. And it's a nice feeling. It's a really nice feeling, David.
Right. I've got a big question to ask you.
Okay.
I'd like you to choose from your entire life, your musician's life at least, or whatever, your
Yeah.
favorite moment ever,
Favorite moment ever. Wow.
or your
Playing
highlight.
playing drums with Ringo Starr's band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Tell
that,
us
I
about
mean,
that.
the bit I'm just a mega Beatles fan. I'll tell you the story, David. I'm a mega Beatles fan, and I was just dealing with this guy. He's in Seattle. This drum dealer. He was dealing in vintage drums, and I saw it on the internet, and we made contact, and we it came about, yeah, we are just talking about, like you just said, favorite things, favorite drums. And I said, oh, Ringo's one of my favorite, well, really my favorite drummer. And he said, oh, my friend is playing drums with Ringo Starr's band. They're on tour at the moment. And then I found out they were playing here in Denmark, not too far away. And I contacted this guy again. I says, can you make contact with your friend Ringo's drummer? His name is Greg. And anyway, they got their passes for us. Well, Ringo actually came to one of our concerts in the 70s in Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
And it was really funny because we were playing on stage and I just looked round to the side and I saw Ringo Starr there. And I went all to jelly like a little kid, you know, it's like a little fan. Anyway, went to this concert and it was great. We were just talking. I didn't know how much he wanted to talk about the Beatles, but it was fine. We're just talking about different things. And then he said to me, do you want to get up on stage and play? I said, you try and stop me. He said, well, you can play my drums because I spend most of the time down the front singing. So I played the last two songs with a little help from my friends and give peace a chance. And I've got the photographs to prove it.
When was that?
It was a couple of years ago now. It's been a couple of years ago
Uh-huh.
now. I think it too was quite regular, but with a different band each time, different musicians. But he had a great band, and he was great to talk to. But I met him in Los Angeles in the 70s, and he's a really down to earth guy.
This one thing about Slade, which sort of fascinates me. Obviously, it was a glam rock band,
Mhm.
but it was the music that you produced. It is like quality, and it is like it's highly rated amongst a lot of other musicians. Whereas most, not, it's not fair to say most bands on Top of the Pops weren't,
No, no,
but
I
there
know
was
what
a
you're saying.
lot of them that really weren't
Yeah, I
that
know.
great.
Well, I think a lot of the things stuff in that time, Dave. These guys didn't even play on their own records. You know, they had
Yeah.
like guys doing it. You know, at least we played on all our sort of records. You know, because
Uh-huh.
we were primarily a live band, and we tried to put the same kind of thing across in the studio. I mean, nobody. I've never heard anybody sing like Noddy Holder. Maybe John Lennon, but yeah, but like when we recorded, we did it all together, and Nod sang at the same time, you know, and we all did it just basically to get the live feel. And I think it came across on the records, and very often. Um, we would use the first take. We do 3 or 4 takes, and then we'd stop and say, "Go back and listen to the first one," because we always kept everything. And then we go back and we said, "That's the one. That we don't need to go any farther. We've already got it. There it is." You know. So we just try to keep the live feel all the time, David.
Yeah, the band's had a lot of continuity, really, hasn't it, over the years? I'm not sure if you're still in. Are you still involved with them, or have you all gone?
I was with Jim Lee just a couple of weeks ago,
Uh-huh.
and I spoke to Nod recently. I see Nod. I used to see Nod. I haven't seen for about 3 times a year, about 35, 40 like musicians, actors, and writers. We used to get together and have a lunch in London, and if only those walls could talk, sort of thing. But and Nod was always there, and we used to have a great afternoon together.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
What,
So
where, go ahead, sorry.
sorry,
Go ahead.
no, sorry. I said we have a great time talking. There's nothing there. We just have a good laugh, sort of talking about different things.
What do you see yourself doing in the next 20 years?
Oh, now that's well, I don't know if I should be here,
What?
but no, I mean, people asked me that 20 years ago. There's no way I would have thought I'd have still been playing, David.
Uh-huh.
Really, but I'll tell you what, I'm having more fun now than I ever did. I think maybe because there's no sort of expectation or no sort of nothing to prove, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I'm just out having a great time, and it's really, like I just said before, it's really nice working with different people, and I sort of I'm learning a lot more now than I did before, because I'm like working with different people, and there's different influences and different styles coming around. So it's I'm having a great time.
You look absolutely fantastic, it has to say. And
I feel good. I feel good.
I'm going to say, look, because sometimes, I mean, you're up in your 80s right now, aren't you? You just
I'm 76 now.
Oh, pretty close. Sometimes when I've interviewed older guys, they're kind of flailing a bit, but you look like you got the oomph still in your life there.
Well, I go to the gym every morning. Would you believe?
That's the secret.
I have a couple of hours in the gym. Not weights. I just do on the running. I power walk 12 kilometers on the treadmill, and I just do stretching exercises. And it's a routine that I have every morning, David, and I really enjoy it. And yeah, I mean, I'm so happy. I've got a great marriage and got some. I've adopted my wife's children, so yeah. I'm the boring old fart from the Stone Age to the kids. When I'm telling stories, it's, oh, that's a boring old fart from the Stone Age.
Well, you're looking good on it.